This was established by President Lincoln, one of the last acts that he signed before he was assassinated in 1865. So this building was constructed in 1869. It opened, Old Main. So it's one of 6 buildings that's going to be rehabbed for 101 units for veterans who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. And the Milwaukee Preservation Alliance has been involved since 2010 when there was a hole that kind of fell through the roof in Old Main, and that kind of galvanized the public, and we submitted a nomination to be on the National Trust's 11 Most Endangered list that year, and then the following year was declared as a national treasure, and has since been declared by the National Park Service as a National Historic Landmark District. So that includes 90 acres and several buildings, most of which are occupied by the VA, but there is a number of vacant buildings, and so what we're trying to do is get them rehabbed and restored for the use of veterans. So 80 of the units are going to be in Old Main, and then the other 21 units are going to be across 5 buildings. That includes the old administration building. So that's where what was called the governor of the VA, now called the director, that's where his offices were. It's where a number of other officials who worked at the VA had their offices, and so that's going to be 12 units of housing. There's an old post office in the first floor that's going to be rehabbed and turned into a veteran service center. And then there's a number of duplexes on the north end of the property that are going to be rehabbed, as well as an old Catholic chaplain's quarter next to the old chapel that's going to be turned into veteran housing.
Okay, so tell me about the chapel and the ward theater. Are there any plans for those at the moment?
There's currently not plans for them. So what's happening with these with the housing is that there's a mechanism called an enhanced use lease, which allows the VA to lease out these buildings and retain ownership of them. So it's a 75-year lease, and the developer takes on all of the costs of rehabbing the buildings, but it's only for housing. So that kind of excludes the theater and the chapel from being rehabbed through this program. The VA did just do some work on the theater that just wrapped up this year. They completely rebuilt the roof and repaired the exterior. They cleaned the brick and rebuilt the porch. So it is all buttoned up now, and we're hoping to see some work down the road on both that and the chapel, but there currently are not plans for those 2 buildings.